Welcome again to the Sustain the Pivot Conference. My name is Brian Van Hook, and I'm Regional Director of the Florida Small Business Development Center at FIU. I again want to welcome you to this conference. My presentation that you're going to see that runs approximately 20 minutes is on disaster preparedness in the new normal. I know you're going to hear all about marketing and access to capital and other different types of strategies, but we do live in Florida. We also are coming out of a pandemic, so I'm going to talk to you a little bit about disaster preparedness. You're asking, who is this guy talking to you? I mentioned my title, Brian Van Hook, Regional Director at Florida SBDC at FIU. Originally, I'm from Louisiana. I'm a certified business continuity professional. I have over 16 years of disaster recovery business continuity experience, and I've worked on such disasters as Hurricane Katrina, Hurricane Rita, the BP oil spill, and now, like all of you guys, a global pandemic. And what we're going to teach you today is we're going to talk about how to incorporate pandemic planning into your overall disaster planning, understanding risks that are unique to your business and how to mitigate them, identifying operations and personnel that are critical to your recovery efforts. And then most importantly, I don't have every answer for you, but I'm going to give you a lot of really good resources and tools and other things that you can do to jumpstart your disaster planning. This is not going to be theoretical. This is going to be actual practical steps you can take to better prepare your business and your employees. So a little bit about the Florida SBDC Network. We're funded in part through a cooperative agreement with the U.S. Small Business Administration. The Florida SBDC Network is statewide. We're 45 years young, as you see from the logo. We have 9 regions around Florida. My region, particularly under FIU, we cover Miami-Dade County and the Florida Keys, but there's other SBDCs that are local if you're not located in our particular region. And they have really great consultants that can help you out. The Florida SBDC Network, we focus on one-on-one business consulting. So we want to help you to start and grow your business. We can help you with access to capital, financial management, international trade, marketing, government contracting. Obviously, we can help you disaster preparedness too, shameless plug. We can also give you access to information, market, research, and data. And then we do trainings and workshops such as the one that you're participating in today. In a disaster situation, usually we're out in the community. You know, you see people like me up there, you know, giving a presentation like this. We're out at the business recovery centers. And then we also have a mobile assistance center, a MAC. I know we're in the process of getting some smaller MACs, but we're out in the community helping you to access disaster applications, disaster funding, and also other programs that are available. Obviously, we've been doing a lot of that virtual for the past year, but this is one of the particular presentations. And then very important for me, I have a really great team of 27 business specialists in Miami-Dade County and the Keys. So this is some of my business specialists that are based in Miami that do all the hard work. So they work one-on-one with the businesses. And then this is also my team that's located in the Florida Keys, all the way from Key West up. And so we have great local consultants that are here to help you out. So now that we get into the disaster presentation, basically you want to have a resilient business. You want to have a business that is going to be able to weather business interruptions and disasters. And that involves a lot of things. That involves like risk management, contingency planning, emergency preparedness, disaster recovery planning for your IT, and also succession planning. And that's what a lot of people don't think about. Like, what happens if a key employee is ill for a long period of time? What happens to you as the owner if something, you know, you go down, and what happens to the operations of your business? So we always say, whether you develop a full business continuity plan, which we can help you with, you just do a disaster recovery plan for your IT. If you just do like emergency contact list or just a simple disaster checklist, everything and anything you can do is going to help you to be better prepared. And there are important things that you can do today that can help you be better prepared for something that could happen tomorrow. So, and then I always have to stress for you guys, business continuity is important, because if you look at this timeline, this is basically all the disasters that have happened since 1992. You can see it does tend to be like every 3 years, every 4 years, something big happens. And you're going to say, well, not all these hit Florida. That's true, but that did impact your supply chain, that impacted your employees, your customers. So it does have a ripple effect for the global business community. So these are things that you want to factor in. Obviously, for us, COVID-19, Zika, Hurricane Irma, things like that. And then also you have to think about more localized business interruptions. We live in Florida, there's always road construction somewhere. If you're a retail business, if you're basically a restaurant, that's going to impact your customers. That's going to impact your business, and that could happen at any time. Also nowadays we are interconnected. So you do have a lot of cyber attacks, cybersecurity issues, things like that. And then the third point I would make is business continuity can actually be good for your business. It can actually give you a competitive advantage. You want to be like the little turtle in the wheelbarrow. You don't want to be like the rabbit that's like, I wish I had a wheelbarrow. Because any significant delay for your business could result in the loss of a customer to your competitor. And then also now you're in the supply chain. So if you're working with larger businesses or federal, state, or local government, they need to know that preparedness is important to you because you're in their supply chain. Also for the federal government, there's a lot more cybersecurity procedures and protocols. So you do have to step up your preparedness in that respect. And then the other thing I have to mention, it's kind of the elephant in the room, is COVID-19. So I would tell you business continuity planning, we would always have templates for pandemic planning, global outbreaks, things like that. That wasn't something that was always emphasized over other areas such as active shooters, such as cybersecurity, things like that. But now you have to factor pandemics into your business continuity planning. So your business needs to factor that into your business model, whether that's strengthening your e-commerce, your direct-to-consumer sales, or basically your marketing strategies in terms of and making sure that if you operate in multiple markets, that you have a nimble marketing strategy that can basically ensure that you don't have delays or additional costs if you have to revise your marketing to be like specific to some market that maybe something's open and another place it's closed. The other thing you need to do is to basically go to some of these federal websites, such as CDC's website. They have a really great guidance and FAQs related to the pandemic. And I'm sure everybody's been there now to look at it for your business, but I just need to reiterate that. And then also the good thing, I would say one of the good things out of the pandemic is that for COVID-19, a lot of these things that I said were theoretical, like for a pandemic and things like that, these things are now actually practicable. So basically for a business, you do have federal guidance, which I mentioned, the CDC, state of Florida guidance, you have county guidance, you have city governments and industry regulations. What you should do now is please listen to the rest of my presentation, but then go to the state of Florida, to your county, to your city, to your industry, and download all of those specific plans if you haven't already, because that is going to be the rules of the road when we have another pandemic down the road. So those are things that you want to have on hand so that you can plan ahead whenever something else happens down the road. It'll help you incorporate that into your disaster planning. So it's actually a good thing, a way to turn the disaster into a positive for you. As we always say, don't let a good disaster go to waste. Take advantage of that to better prepare your business. This also includes some additional links for the CDC, for FEMA. If you want to come up with a pandemic continuity plan, if you want to do some checklists, this is good information, and you guys will get a copy of the presentation. So don't feel like you have to feverishly write down notes. So in terms of non-pandemic planning, the most important thing you can do is to understand your risks. You want to know your business, your employees, your location better than anybody. So you need to do a risk assessment on what risks are more likely to threaten your business. You don't have to worry about volcanoes. You don't have to worry about ice storms. If you're in South Florida like us, North Florida guys, sometimes you have to worry about that. But you can do tabletop exercises to test your response to those specific risks. You want to do basically a visual inspection of your business. Look at basically your building, your roof, your outside, look at your fixtures, your furniture. You want to see your equipment. You want to take pictures of everything too, like before, just in case something happens to it. And then you want to focus on what basic steps you can take today to better prepare your business in case something happens down the road. Think about your business in terms of how does it run? Who runs it? Where does it run? How does it run? You also want to think about your functions. What is a critical function? What is an important function? What is non-essential? How long can you withstand interruptions to those critical functions? 24 hours, 2 days, 3 days, a week, a month? Because that's going to prioritize your functions in terms of what you need to run. Obviously, payroll and some other things are more important. Insurance. A lot of businesses don't worry about continuity planning because they have insurance. But if you had to deal with insurance, you know that it's only a partial solution. It doesn't replace your customers, and it's not going to cover all your losses. It is a good thing sometimes to shop for insurance, to see what you can, what's out there in the market. You also want to take advantage of any free risk assessments that your insurance company can do. They can also give you, like the commercials did, like you're covered for this, but you're not covered for that. So you can find out kind of where your gaps in coverage are. Talk to other business owners, and then also just be aware that insurance companies don't exclude losses related to viruses or diseases in most policies. So that would be something you want to factor in for down the road. Also think about personal recovery versus business recovery. In terms of the pandemic, we've all learned you kind of got to get everything okay in your house. You got to get everything okay at home with your family before you can kind of focus on the business. So you need to find that balance between your personal disaster preparations and your business preparations. You want to think about your home, your childcare, your relatives, your pets. You want to talk with your family and your team about their disaster plans. Set key deadlines when things need to get completed by, and don't overcomplicate it. Don't come up with 15 things. You want to talk about things that you need to get within the specific timeline. And so focus on 3 or 4 things, knock those out, focus on 3 or 4 more. You want to also focus on your supply chain. You have upstream, your suppliers, you have you and your employees downstream, and then you have your customers. So we're going to go over those. For your suppliers and contractors, you want to maintain current vendor information. You want to have alternate contacts, have your account numbers. You want to think about alternate suppliers just in case. Geographic diversity is always a good thing, having folks that are not clustered in one area of the country in case you have something happen. And then placing those periodic orders to maintain active status. I always say your front line is your bottom line. You can't run your business without your employees. You want to maintain emphasis on current employee contact information. Most businesses, you have your contact information when you hire somebody, but unfortunately people get divorced, people move, people get a new cell phone, things like that. So you want to update that periodically, definitely before hurricane season, once a year, a couple times a year. That way you can have up-to-date emergency contact information. You also want to have alternate means of communication, email, personal email, text message, WhatsApp group, Google Chat, things like that. You want to identify any special skills, work with your employees on their personal disaster plans. For example, are they going to shelter in place if we have a hurricane? Are they going to evacuate? Where are they going to evacuate? How can you get a hold of them if they're there? So that way you can do a check down and make sure all your folks are safe. In terms of customers, that is a key factor. You need to identify the likelihood that customers will be present in your business if something happens. You need to focus on that in terms of your disaster planning. Keep your communications open with customers. You need to keep a copy of your customer records offsite or in the cloud. And then you need to have an alternate work site to communicate with your customers. Right now, we all have alternate work sites that we've been working with for a while. So that is something that hopefully has made your business better prepared. Also, don't forget that you can factor in gift cards into your regular business operations, and you can put that as a way to put immediate cash into your business. Gift cards, they can be used online, they can be used in person later when conditions improve, but that should be something you can get on your website and put in as part of your marketing. It's a great way to emphasize buy local, shop small, so that's immediate cash that goes in your business, and then the folks can use the gift cards later on. It was a great idea that a lot of businesses took advantage of during COVID. Also, takeout orders and delivery services. A lot of restaurants and grocery stores utilize that during COVID. So that is something you can factor in. In terms of it, you can make it easier in terms of your location for takeout orders or curbside pickup. I did list some of the relevant services from DoorDash to Instacart. We always stress, do your research on how the deliveries work, how much in fees they charge, how long the deliveries are made, how are you going to receive your payments. Those are things that a lot of businesses didn't factor into it. Then they get into agreements and, it impacts their business operations. So you want to make sure it's a good deal for you, or that you're aware of what's going on before you get into it. And then also just understand the process and procedures for the third party delivery orders, because if the order gets messed up, that's on you, and the customer is going to hold that against you, not the delivery driver. So those are things you want to factor in. Also, other contacts, we use the acronym BAIL, bankers, accountants, insurance agents, and lawyers. So you're going to want to think about that. There's probably some other ones that don't fit into that neat little acronym, but come up with your other contacts. Critical records, you want to identify any records that are critical to your core functions. Make copies of those, store them off-site in the cloud, back them up, because what good is those documents if it's 2 years old and not up to date? And then we always do stress in terms of your inventory, furnitures, and fixtures. Have photographic records of it. That's important for insurance and SBA. They want to see that it wasn't trashed before the hurricane or before the disaster. They want to see the pre-disaster condition. Also, critical operations. This includes some of them from administrative, payroll, internal, external communications, utilities. There's a lot of them you need to think about, but it is specific to your business. And then we always stress that it's not a one-time thing. It's not because you went to this webinar once at the Sustain the Pivot conference, that you can do it. It needs to be something that you do every year. You need to do it continually. Like we said, don't procrastinate before a hurricane's on your doorstep. And work internally with tabletop exercises, review procedures with your team, involve the key people that are going to be important to the response, not just leadership. Update your plan regularly and test it repeatedly to make sure that it's bulletproof, or as bulletproof as you can make it. As we said, train your employees, make preparedness a core business value, like FedEx, like UPS, they're always coming into the community after. Home Depot obviously emphasizes that from their end. It is beneficial to their business model because they want people to come in and buy stuff pre-disaster and post-disaster, but those type of businesses really do factor in emergency preparedness. And like we talked about previously, you want to communicate with your vendors, with your contractors, get best practices, and then also, monitor your performance and your effectiveness of your plan. There's a lot of different tools out there. We're going to get into some of them. One tool that's available to help you on preparedness is the Bizaster mobile app. It's available in the App Store and Google Play. This was developed between the SBDC, the FIU Extreme Events Institute, and USAID. Bizaster helps you to jumpstart your business, your recovery operations, helps you get better prepared. Most important part, it's free. It's available in English and Spanish, and includes customizable checklists, disaster simulations, and risk assessments that you can use for your business. But we're not territorial. There are other disaster-related apps out there. Red Cross is a good one that has different apps. FEMA, like in our region, Ready Miami-Dade, Alert Monroe. Those are 2 county-specific apps that you can get to get disaster information. There's also other ones. I know Gas Buddy was a good one that everybody was using recently about the gas stations related to the gas outage. So Hurricane Tracker, Storm Radar, those are other good apps for you to use. And then kind of the core ones for businesses is ready.gov, Florida Division of Emergency Management. SBA also has really good resources. Then there's also floridadisaster.biz. Then there's your county hurricane guides. So Miami-Dade County has a really good one that they put out every year. And then also in our region, in the Keys, Florida, Monroe County has one as well. So there we go, guys. So give me all your questions. Make it tough. Give me some tough questions. Don't be shy. Sorry about that. Okay, so somebody was asking, Does the SBDC offer a template to help us get started on creating our contingency plan? Yes, your local SBDC will have a template that they can offer you to kind of get started on it. So definitely reach out, follow up with the information from the conference, and they can get you connected to a local SBDC that can help you to get started on that. What is the first thing I should work on in regards to getting my business better prepared? Again, that's a great question. The first thing you should do, like I said, is to do a basic visual inspection of your business. So just walk outside, check the roof, check the building, check your location in case it might be in a flood area. Also do a visual inspection inside. And then the next step would be to do a risk assessment, to get in and actually do what risks are likely to occur with your business. Like I said, you can probably rule out volcanoes, other types of things like that, but there are other things that you should worry about, such as theft, such as hurricanes. Now you have to factor in pandemics. So those are some ones that you want to factor in, but you want to basically focus on which ones are more likely to happen and then kind of think through what are some of the steps you can do to mitigate those disasters. So 2 good questions. Then they were asking, where should I look to get templates for my business continuity materials? I did provide you with a couple of those. FEMA, the Florida Disaster.biz. Also related to FEMA has some good business ones, ready.gov. So those are some good templates. Any concerns about compliance before saving to the cloud, customer data, etc.? That is a good question. You need to think through from cybersecurity perspective, kind of who would have access to those particular records, how secure is your cloud, all those type of things, because here in Florida, you are liable in terms of potential breaches for notifying your customers and things like that. So you do want to think through those type of things. Then the second question was related to, sorry about that, I missed the chat. The second question was related to essential services such as childcare. Do you offer specific guidance for these businesses to remain open for frontline workforce? I would say there is industry specific different planning for childcare centers and things like that. Those are also things that groups such as SBDC, but I mentioned like ready.gov, I mentioned Florida Disaster.biz, FEMA, SBA. They do all have different things that you can do in regards to that. For childcare centers, there are some things you want to factor in terms of kind of like the child information, emergency contact information. You want to think through kind of any kind of notifications that you need to do. And then there is also probably some specific incident related things that you need to come through. For a childcare center, there's probably specific things that incidents that are more likely to happen in a childcare center that you probably would want to map out in terms of how you would respond. So that's actually a good question. So any additional questions? Come on, I didn't answer everything, guys. Give me a couple more. I would say that those were about 4 or 5 good questions. Okay. So I'm not seeing any additional questions. I know you guys are probably going to think about some questions after the session. So feel free to email or to post and we can get you some more information. And then kind of shameless plug, like I said, for your local SBDC, depending where you are, there is a local SBDC center that can provide you with a lot of this really great information.